Hello! Today let's take a look at how to analyze speeches looking for rhetorical devices. So, one of the tasks you often have to deal with in a Klausur is looking at a speech and then analyzing it, and often one of the things you focus on in this analysis is looking for rhetorical devices. This can be really tricky, but today I'll make it easier for you and show you the 3 steps you can take to make this easier. First step will be, how do you find the right devices when reading the text? Second step is, how do you focus on the correct devices, because you cannot describe everything that's in the text. And my last step will be, how do you write a text about these devices and construct sensible paragraphs. Let's go! So let us take a look how to analyze a speech. First of all, obviously, you should read the text. But there's some advice I can give you even on just reading the text. First of all, when you read, you should already mark the devices. But there is a problem here, because if you don't know what you should be marking, it will be hard to mark something. Let me make a comparison. Say you're walking on a beach and you're trying to look for seashells. Now, if you don't know what seashells look like or which seashells are interesting or special, you're not likely to find very interesting seashells. So, you should know exactly what you're looking for. In a speech, you don't really have to know all the rhetorical devices. But in a speech, what will most likely appear is a rhetorical question, some form of repetition. This could be like an anaphora. Anaphora is the beginning of a sentence that is always the same, like as in, I do not know where we will find, I do not know what you want, and so forth. Or the rule of 3, which is 3 things mentioned in a row, or parallelism, which I'll make an example of later. Or you will have things like the use of an inclusive we to create a feeling of unity or something like this. So while reading, keep an eye out for these things and mark them already. The second step is evaluate what you have found. So again, like with the seashells, we don't just want to count everything that's on the beach, but we're looking for interesting things. Which devices does the speaker use often, so more than once? Which devices are very interesting or are striking in the way that they're used? And which devices support the message best that the speaker is trying to make? Last step is write, of course. How do you write that? Now, there's some real good advice that I can give you on that. Write in paragraphs. It shouldn't be one text without, I don't know, any sign of structure, but it should be paragraphs. And the paragraphs in your main part should look like this. They should have the name of the device, say alteration. They should have a quote or reference. A quote is where you really quote something from the text. A reference is where you only refer to it, so you only give a line number. This can make sense depending on the circumstance. And there should be an explanation of what the effect or what the intended effect or the intention of this device is. You shouldn't use copy-paste phrases here. So that means don't always write the speaker uses this device to make the text more interesting. Next device. The speaker uses this device to make the text more interesting. Of course, that's not completely wrong, but it's also not really completely right, and it doesn't really describe the very text you're reading here. To make that easier for you, I got an example here. Try to remember the colors I have here. So I have red for name of the device, yellow for quote or reference, and green for attention and effect of the explanation. My example. Again, keep in mind the colors. It's like in a stoplight, right? We have red, yellow, and green. Red is the name, yellow is the reference or the quote, and green is the explanation. Talking about climate change, Obama uses a parallelism, I've named the device, when he points out that in America, in our West, and in our heartland, this is the reference to the text, the negative effects can already be felt. Thus, it becomes clear that, and now comes my explanation of the effect, the problem does not lie in the future, but affects US citizens today. By mentioning different regions in the USA, Obama underlines that the effects are not limited to specific areas. Of course, your format or your style can vary and can change significantly, but generally speaking, your paragraph should include this information: name of device, reference to the text, explanation of the effect. So, that was my video on finding, evaluating and writing about rhetorical devices you can find in speeches. I hope it helped you a little bit. Let me know if you got along with it. If you have any other questions or comments, please contact me. See you soon. Goodbye.